So I've been seeing recently a lot of people making videos against GameStop. Now I don't really have any allegiance for or against GameStop. It really doesn't matter to me if they go under, they tank, or they don't. I happen to know a lot of really vile things that GameStop has done, a lot of antics that they've pulled. And obviously it's all over YouTube, but I've never worked for GameStop. I've never really had an awful experience at GameStop. And a lot of people are saying a lot of negative stuff about GameStop, probably just to keep up with the trend of hating GameStop. But I was just going to make a video talking about a positive and a negative experience that I've had at GameStop at two particularly different times. So I'll start with the good experience because I want to leave the bad experience for the end. So the good experience occurred, I think, in like 2007. Okay, I went to an EB Games at the time, but it was like 2007, 2 years after they merged. They didn't really have enough time to make the EB Games a GameStop yet, so I'm not sure. I'm not actually sure if it was a GameStop yet, but I know that it was an EB Games at one point. There was a GameStop right across the street, which used to be a Funko Land. And I would go to the EB Games because my friend worked at EB Games, and I trusted him, and he knew more about video games than anyone else that I knew. So I definitely found a home for myself there. I wasn't like a regular, but I would go to EB Games slash GameStop like once every 2 months probably, just to pick stuff up. I was more of a used game kind of person. And one of the games that I was really interested in was Madden. I was a huge Madden fan, actually. And I would play the PS2 version of the game, and I really liked it because it was really easy to pick up and play. Like, it wasn't too difficult. You could up the difficulty, you could lower the difficulty. But at a certain point in time, when the next generation came out, the Xbox 360, the PS3 generation came out, the game became a lot less customizable. You know, they would just come out with rehashed versions of the game with just updated rosters and watered down features. So I decided, I'm going to go get the new game. I'm going to get an Xbox 360. I had enough money. It was about 2 years after the system had launched. So it was like $200 cheaper, like $350. The game that I was getting was Madden 2007. I believe Sean Alexander was on the cover. That game was about $69 because I got the special edition version, which was a 2-disc version with the game plus the first season of Madden Nation, because I really liked Madden Nation at that time. I was really interested in those types of reality TV shows. So I got the game. My friend wasn't there that day. I got the game in the system, which included the controller, the headset, and the internet wire plug-in. My friend wasn't there. The guy who was there was this. I don't know if he was Middle Eastern or if he was Latino, but he kind of had his hair slicked back and like a ponytail. I'd seen him there a few times, but I never really talked to him that much. But I got those things and I went home. And about 5 days later, after like nonstop playing, I think it was like winter break or something like that for me, January or February. But after a whole week of playing, I decided to move the console with the game in it. Suffice to say that that was a huge mistake and I was a giant idiot because I moved the console, I picked it up while the game was in it and running, and I heard a and there was if you looked at the game, at the disc, there was a huge cut all the way around, orbiting around the whole game, rendered completely unusable. So let's just say I went into complete panic mode. I was like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? So I ended up going to the EB Games slash GameStop, and I was really frantic. I brought the receipt with me. Thank God I had that receipt because I don't keep receipts anymore. And I didn't back then. I would just like stuff them in my wallet and forget about them. But I go up to the guy, the slick black, the Latino slash Middle Eastern guy, the slick backed hair guy. I don't know what ethnicity he was. It doesn't really even matter. Had a goatee. But I walked up to him and I was like, I have the receipt. The game it broke because I picked up the Xbox while the game was running. I was like my Jerry Seinfeld moment. I was like, I have the receipt, and he was like, don't worry, don't worry. You have nothing to worry about. All I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the game because I remember you. I'm gonna take the game. I'm gonna throw this one out, and then I'm gonna give you a brand new one. And like it went from like me being like so frantic to thanks, Mister. You know what I'm saying? It was like the homeless guy from UHF. Thanks, Mister. Like I just like $1,000,000 just went right into my hands. So I mean, at that point in time, like I was in high school and I had no money. So like $69, that's a lot of money. And I walked home with a smile on my face. And probably like the best day ever at the time. The best thing, the greatest thing anyone's ever done for me. So that was the good thing, the good experience I had with GameStop. Now I'll go to the bad experience that I had with GameStop. So I had like gone into kind of like a Pokemon renaissance where I would just, buy every single incarnation of the Game Boy slash Nintendo DS game. I have all the games from the first generation, all the games from the second, one game from the third, all the games from the fourth, like one game from the fifth, and you catch my drift, so on and so forth. So I think it was like 2015, 2016. I went to GameStop and I noticed that there was like an incarnation of the game that I didn't have. And I think it was like Pokemon Black 2 or White 2 or something like that. I don't know. I played it once. It was kind of fun, but it definitely wasn't as fun as the originals. But I wanted to buy the game, and that was like 2015, 2016. I figured this game has got to be used. You know what I'm saying? This game has been out since like 2011. There's even been another generation in between it coming out. So there's no way this is going to be super expensive. So I go to GameStop and I'm like, yeah, I'll pick up like White 2 or Black 2. And they're like, we don't have it used, but we have it new. I'm like, really? Okay. Like, because I used to buy used games from EB Games slash GameStop all the time. And instead of being like $50, they'd be like $5. So I'm like, okay, I'm probably going to get like a $5 game. This is awesome. What happens is they give me the box. Like, there is no title on it. It's not the original game box, but it has the game in it. And they're like, it's new, and it's like $38. And I was like really confused at the time because I guess I hadn't been there in a while and I didn't really understand the economics, the business of selling games. But I was like, well, you have X and Y that just came out, and that's like $38. So why are you selling me a game that has been out for 5 years for $38? That doesn't make sense. Like, that's how much it was 5 years ago. That there's something wrong with this. And the guy's like, no, that's what we sell it for. I was like, okay, fine, that's whatever. So I bought the game. The guy said it was new. I go home. I take the game and I put it in my 3DS or my DS, or I don't know which one. I have no clue. I forget. But I put it in the DS and it has a save file in it. So not only did I buy a used game, but I bought a used game for the price of a new game. And then, of course, like I saw a bunch of videos. Like, this is something that GameStop does. Like, they'll sell you a used game for like 200% more than the price of somebody returning the game or pawning it off to them as a used game. So suffice to say, they probably bought it for like $10, $10 to $15 back from the person who was returning it. And I just consider that to be just a disgusting business practice. I got completely lied to. The only way I would have been able to know is if I had like the DS in my pocket, jacked it into the game, and then you know saw that it was already had a save file, and then I would have to prove that the guy told me that it was a used game. That's just scummy. That there's nothing more scummy about that. So, I mean, I actually don't know what is more scummy. I don't know if it's more scummy that the guy lied to me, or if it was scummy that used games at GameStop, that used game at GameStop is $38, is about 200% more than it should be. I don't know. It was really screwed up. I haven't been back to GameStop since. I'd rather go to Amazon, because that just seems like a way better place to buy games. I would never con someone out of money like that. That's like, I would rather go to eBay. I would probably get the game for cheaper than how I got it from GameStop. But that's my positive story, my negative story about GameStop. If anyone has any times in which GameStop either screwed them or did something good for them, I'm open to hearing it. But that was this video. I hope everyone enjoys their day. Peace.